I didn't know.
He lives in Hawaii. He's 80 years old.
Surprise.
He lives in Hawaii, and he's trying to make new cookies now. He's pretty poor.
You're kidding. He's trying to.
That would not surprise me. The hardest thing about being a rags to riches story is
Keeping it.
if you take a misstep, you can't do it again. You feel me? Like, that's the hardest part about it.
Well, that I didn't
And
know,
we've
so I
seen it
take that
happen
back.
time after time.
Famous say
That's crazy, though.
the
I didn't
cookies
know
are
that
still
either about him.
the cookies are still selling, but he hasn't owned it for years.
Probably not.
Right.
He kept selling parts of the
Man,
company as he was spending money and doing stupid things. He kept selling this company until he sold everything out, and he had nothing.
Well, look, if Trump doesn't get that big inheritance, and he keeps telling that lie that he got $1 million, which is not true. He got 30 from his father. I know he got 10 from his mother, not including real estate, stocks, different parts of his inheritance. And even he couldn't. I mean, he failed at a casino. You know what I mean? Like, he failed majorly in real estate. He lost, damn near $1 billion. Like, that's a hard game to play out there, man. And it is what it is. But he's not Warren Buffett. That's the damn thing.
Well,
No.
he lost it, but then he somehow came back from it.
No, the money that he lost was all on paper. I don't think anything was really exchanged. So it's almost like you filing papers with a lawyer, okay, and he says, okay, now you're divested. You don't own it. You don't have anything, but you wouldn't know anyway because you never had it in your hands. Okay.
Well, his
The
losses.
company failed. You didn't fail.
Exactly.
The company went bankrupt. You didn't go bankrupt.
That's why
So
after
you use your inheritance to leverage loans, and you get those loans, and if those loans fail, hey, that's the bank's problem. They're the ones who loaned you the money based on you being able to pay because you have all this wealth that you inherited. So, I mean, that's basically the game he's always played, not use my own money.
Right.
Other people's money. He's a champ at that.
And that's also why after your corporation, you have PC, which means that the bottom line is your corporation is responsible, not you.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
But he had the hotels go bad in Atlantic City, but all the hotels went bankrupt in Atlantic City, just about.
Well, the worst thing that happened to Atlantic City was Connecticut. Okay. What are the two?
Well, just think about Atlantic City. It's a relic of old America. Why would Atlantic City be a destination? You know what I mean? Back in the day, of course, yes, it was a destination. Gambling. They had a nice little game running because they had a monopoly on.
And they also had the
But
rackets.
when you really think about it, right. Why the hell would anybody want to go to Atlantic City as a destination when you could go to Vegas? If you're broke, you can go to the Native American casinos, and if you're really a high roller, you can go internationally to Macau or wherever. But why the hell would Atlantic City be a destination? You see what I mean? Like that's a relic of old America, and the times just kind of caught up with it.
Hey, the only people who really made it in Atlantic City were the Parker brothers when they came out with the game Monopoly, because all the streets are named after streets in Atlantic City.
Yeah, Atlantic City, was just a farce after all those years. Once you have airplanes, you don't need Atlantic City anymore.
Right.
Exactly.
You don't need it. You go to Vegas. They're like, well, why the hell would you go to Atlantic City? What's to see? What's to do? But back in the day, that HBO show, which is really good. What's the name?
Boardwalk Empire.
In those days. Right. Yeah, that worked out fine. But, like you guys said, as you could fly.
Yeah.
Until they started killing each other off and burying each other on the beach.
I don't know, man. I like this show, man. I hated the last season, but I like the show.
I know. I didn't. You're right. I thought the seasons before that were much better. I thought they could have come up with a better ending. But as one of my wife's friends said, when The Sopranos was going off the air, the last episode, he said, "Why are people getting so excited?" He said, "It's only fucking Hollywood. That's all. It's just a show, you know."
Yeah, the writing was so good in The Sopranos, though, man. It really hit home with people, man. People would be staying home. Like, I remember when Sopranos were really, when they were live, like, there were nights where people weren't going out. Hey, man, we staying home, we watching Sopranos, we getting food, we're getting some drinks, we're hanging out here. Like, it really turned into a thing. And that writing, you know, and my man, I can't think of his name that passed, the guy who played Tony, but, you know, the performance he put in, and look at me, I'm talking about a damn show like it's that important. But
Gandolfini.
I don't know, man. It's one
his name, yeah, Gandolfini.
Yeah. Dan.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, that's just like the debates now. I get a bag of popcorn, I sit down, and I laugh.
You got free admission to the greatest show on earth.
Yeah. I never watched. I never had any interest in debates before. To me, they were always boring. But this.
No, that's not true. You know why? Because ever since we're doing this show, you're very interested in debates.
Yeah.
You got to keep up with me.
No, these debates
the
are
Obama Romney first debate was really good.
Yeah.
C-SPAN plays a lot of old debates, and you know they play that one with Dan Quayle and the other guy. So
that's the one I was talking.
I knew Jack Kennedy.
Yeah, you're no Jack Kennedy.
Yeah. That was good.
And that guy was really good. Honestly, he just had a horrible.
Hey, listen.
President he was running with. If they running that guy later, man.
I gotta say one thing. Read my lips. No new taxes.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Man. He buried himself.
George H.W. Bush.
Yeah. Now the.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
The name just. Now, who showed up in a helping Hillary in Florida the other day?
Oh, Al
Gore.
They had to bring him out of the.
Yeah,
I got to tell you.
They wiped him off. They took off all the dust and everything. And
he's still as boring a speaker as he was back in the year 2000.
Yeah, man. The dude who couldn't win his home state, who still tries to blame everything on Ralph Nader.
But the one good thing about Al Gore is when he said to the millennials, "Don't think your vote doesn't count," he said, "Look at me," and it's true. He said, you know,
he lost by 500 some odd votes.
Yeah, but it's still a dodge though because he was a bad candidate. There's no way he shouldn't have beaten Bush. He shouldn't have lost his home state. And to blame everything on Ralph Nader is a cop out, man. Like, dude.
No, you know what?
A third party.
You know what mistake he made? He made a mistake by distancing himself from Bill Clinton.
They hate each other.
Well, but Bill Clinton went out as a very popular president. He went out with a surplus, not a deficit. There were billions of jobs that were created because of the dot-com industry. Okay? If he just could have separated himself from Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, and what happened to Gore 5-6 years later? Tipper divorced him because he was having an affair with somebody who was old enough to be his daughter.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
So, I mean, you got to be careful, you know?
But he's a...
And think about decorum, though. Back in those debates, somebody, was... they were looking at their watch, and everybody said, that's disrespect, that's not presidential, yada, yada. And now look what we have. We got people speaking over each other. We got people telling people they're going to send them to jail if they win. Like, we got people speaking as if they already won. Like, think about how...
Well, Trump was practically breathing down Hillary's neck. He really was encroaching on her space. You have to admit that.
Yeah, but she walked in front of him when she spoke.
Come on, man. That was ridiculous.
She walked in front of him.
Yeah.
Not while he was speaking. He walked behind her, and he was practically breathing down her neck.
And then when she was talking, she walked in front of him and blocked him. It's just bullshit. The whole thing's with
Not
idiotic.
in the same way. But
No.
you got to admit, though, the guy had a lot of scandals going. He had a lot of stuff going on, and he was trying to try to frustrate her a little bit. So I can understand gamesmanship. Matter of fact, you go back to Bush Gore, and Gore makes a assertion about Bush and kind of walks up close to Bush. Bush gives him a street one up and one down. Like look at his shoes, look at his face.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a real Texas rancher.
I remember.
Look at that video, dude. I respected Bush for that one, man. That looked like the block.
Yeah.
The problem with Bush.
That looked like the street corner.
The problem with Bush was that he listened to Cheney too much. Cheney was a war hawk and a warmonger. Okay? Cheney was part of his father's administration, and Cheney wanted to go into Iraq as much, if not more, than Bush wanted to go into Iraq. And
because Cheney wants to be the 1%.
That was the wrong war to go into.
Of course, Cheney wants to be part of the 1%.
Cheney always was a 1%er. He practically owned Halliburton. He only got richer while he was vice president.
Yeah. All around him, and they kind of bullied him around into what they wanted to do. I don't know how much Bush really could say he ran anything with those guys around him. They put all those old guys around him.